Tyler Bennett's heart pounded so hard he thought it might burst through his chest. His eyes darted frantically across the crowded mall, scanning every small figure, every flash of pink coat, every child's face. His hands shook as he pushed past shoppers carrying bags and boxes, their annoyed looks barely registering in his terror-filled mind. "Rosie," he called out, his voice cracking. "Rosie." The Christmas Eve crowd pressed in from all sides. Families laughed and chatted, completely unaware that his entire world was crumbling. Somewhere in this sea of people, his 5-year-old daughter had vanished. One moment she'd been standing beside him at the toy store, the next he'd turned around and she was gone. 3 minutes. It had only been 3 minutes, but each second felt like an hour. His mind raced through every horrible possibility. Someone could have taken her. She could be scared, crying, looking for him. She could be hurt. The mall was huge, with multiple exits leading to a busy parking lot and the cold December streets beyond. "Sir, we're doing everything we can," the security guard beside him said, speaking into his radio. "We've alerted all exits. No child matching that description has left the building." Tyler barely heard him. His daughter was out there somewhere, alone and probably terrified. He was supposed to protect her. He was all she had. And he'd failed her by looking away for just a moment. He rounded the corner near the center fountain, the one Rosie had begged to visit earlier. The fountain was decorated with blue and silver lights, and a small crowd had gathered around it. Tyler's breath caught as he spotted a flash of pink. There. Rosie stood by the fountain's edge, her small arms wrapped around a woman's waist. The woman wore a red wool coat and she was bent down, her hands hovering uncertainly near Rosie's back, as if she wanted to hug the child but was afraid to. Tyler ran forward, relief and residual fear making his legs weak. "Rosie, baby, don't you ever?" His voice died in his throat. The woman in the red coat slowly straightened up and turned around. Tyler felt like the ground had been ripped out from under him. The noise of the mall faded to a distant hum. 3 years. It had been 3 years since he'd seen that face. Lauren. His ex-wife looked different. Thinner. Her hair was shorter, cut to her shoulders. But her eyes were the same warm brown that had once looked at him with love. Now they were wide with shock and something else. Fear maybe. Or guilt. "Daddy," Rosie said, her voice bright with joy. "I found Mommy." Tyler couldn't move. His mind struggled to process what he was seeing. Lauren lived across the country. At least that's what he'd thought. She'd left 3 years ago without much explanation, and the divorce had been quick and cold. She'd signed away custody without a fight, which had hurt almost as much as her leaving. "Tyler." Lauren's voice was barely a whisper. I didn't mean to. She just ran up to me. "You're here." The words came out flat. Tyler didn't know what he was feeling. Anger? Confusion? Relief that Rosie was safe? All of it crashed together in his chest. "I live here," Lauren said softly. "I mean in town. I moved back about 2 years ago." 2 years. She'd been here for 2 years and he hadn't known. Tyler looked down at Rosie, who was beaming up at both of them like all her dreams had come true at once. The security guard caught up to them, slightly out of breath. "Is this your daughter, sir?" "Yes," Tyler managed. "Thank you. I've got her." "You gave your daddy quite a scare, young lady," the guard said gently to Rosie before walking away. People were staring now. Tyler realized they were causing a scene. Rosie still clung to Lauren's hand, and the sight of his daughter holding onto the woman who'd abandoned them both sent a sharp pain through his chest. "Mommy, can you come home with us?" Rosie asked, her voice full of hope. "It's Christmas Eve. We have cookies." Lauren's eyes filled with tears. She looked at Tyler, and he saw so much pain in her expression that his anger faltered for just a moment. "Sweetie, Lauren started, but Rosie interrupted. "Please, Mommy. I miss you." The simple statement hung in the air between the three of them. Tyler saw a tear slip down Lauren's cheek. His own throat felt tight. "Rosie, baby, it's more complicated than that," Tyler said, trying to keep his voice steady. He needed to get out of this mall, away from the staring eyes and Christmas music and the ghost of his past standing in front of him. "But you said we should be kind to people at Christmas," Rosie argued, using his own words against him. "And Mommy looks sad." Tyler looked at Lauren properly for the first time. She did look sad. More than sad. She looked lost and alone, standing there in her red coat with her hands trembling slightly at her sides. "I should go," Lauren said quietly. She gently extracted her hand from Rosie's grip. "It was good to see you, baby girl. You've grown so much." "No." Rosie's voice rose and several shoppers turned to look. "No, Mommy, don't go again." The desperation in his daughter's voice broke something in Tyler. He thought of all the times over the past 3 years when Rosie had asked about her mother. All the times he'd struggled to explain why Mommy had left. All the bedtime tears and the Mother's Day cards she'd made for a woman who wasn't there. What would you do if your child's simple wish on Christmas Eve forced you to face the person who broke your heart? Drop a comment with your thoughts, and please subscribe to follow this emotional journey to its conclusion. Wait, Tyler heard himself say. He couldn't believe the words coming out of his mouth, but Rosie's tearful face left him no choice. Rosie's right. It's Christmas Eve. We can at least talk. There's a coffee shop just down the way. Lauren looked shocked. Tyler, you don't have to. I know I don't have to, he said, his voice harder than he intended. But clearly my daughter needs this. So let's talk. Lauren hesitated, then nodded. Rosie immediately brightened and grabbed both their hands, one in each of hers. Tyler felt the weight of his daughter's small hand in his left and the strange sensation of being connected, however indirectly, to Lauren again. As they walked through the mall toward the coffee shop, Tyler's mind raced. How had this happened? How had a simple Christmas Eve shopping trip turned into this? This morning, his biggest worry had been whether he'd bought Rosie enough presents. Now he was walking beside the woman who'd shattered his life, with no idea what would happen next. The coffee shop was surprisingly quiet, tucked away in a corner of the mall where fewer people ventured. Tyler ordered hot chocolate for Rosie and coffee for himself. Lauren ordered tea with hands that shook so badly she could barely get her wallet out. Tyler ended up paying for all 3 drinks, which felt absurd given the circumstances. They sat at a small table near the window. Rosie sat between them, sipping her hot chocolate with a contentment that seemed completely unaware of the tension crackling in the air. How long have you been back? Tyler asked, his voice carefully neutral. 23 months, Lauren answered. She wasn't looking at him, focusing instead on her tea. I got a job as a teacher's aide at Riverside Elementary. Riverside. That was only 15 minutes from his house. She'd been that close for almost 2 years. Why didn't you? He stopped, glancing at Rosie. He couldn't have this conversation in front of their daughter. Mommy, do you have a Christmas tree? Rosie asked, oblivious to her parents' discomfort. Lauren's face crumpled slightly. No, sweetie. Not this year. That's sad, Rosie said matter-of-factly. Everyone should have a Christmas tree. Right, Daddy? Tyler didn't know how to answer that. He looked at Lauren, really looked at her, and noticed things he'd missed in his initial shock. Her coat was nice, but it was worn at the cuffs. Her boots were scuffed. There was a tiredness around her eyes that spoke of sleepless nights and long days. Rosie, why don't you go look at the cookies in the display case over there? Tyler suggested, pointing to the counter. Pick one out for dessert tonight. Okay. Rosie hopped down from her chair and skipped over to the glass case, pressing her nose against it to see the treats better. The moment she was out of earshot, Tyler leaned forward. What are you doing here, Lauren? In this mall in this town on Christmas Eve. Lauren's hands wrapped around her teacup like she needed its warmth. I came to see the Christmas decorations. I do it every year. And I hoped. She stopped, her voice breaking. You hoped what? I hoped I might see her, Lauren whispered. Just from a distance. I never meant for her to recognize me. I never meant to approach her. Tyler, you have to believe me. She ran right up to me. She said she remembered my perfume. Tyler's chest tightened. Lauren used to wear vanilla perfume. He'd thrown out the bottle she'd left behind because the scent was too painful. You've been watching her? The thought should have made him angry, but instead he felt something more complicated. Sometimes, Lauren admitted, shame coloring her voice. At the park. Outside her school during pickup, though I stay in my car. I know I have no right. I signed away custody. But Tyler, she's my daughter. I couldn't completely disappear. You did disappear, Tyler said, the old hurt rising up. You left. You filed for divorce. You gave up custody without even trying to fight for her. I had my reasons. Lauren's voice was so quiet he almost didn't hear her. What reasons? Tyler demanded. You never explained. You just said you couldn't do it anymore and walked away. Do you have any idea what that did to Rosie? What it did to me? Lauren looked up at him then, and the raw pain in her eyes stopped his words. I think about it every single day. Every morning when I wake up alone. Every night when I go to bed in my empty apartment. Every time I see Rosie from a distance and can't hold her. I think about it constantly, Tyler. It destroys me. Then why? The question came out as almost a plea. Why did you leave us? Before Lauren could answer, Rosie came running back. I want the one with sprinkles. Daddy, can I have the one with sprinkles? The moment was broken. Tyler pulled out his wallet and handed Rosie money for the cookie, buying himself time to process what Lauren had said. When Rosie returned with her treat, she climbed back into her chair and proceeded to get sprinkles all over the table. Tyler and Lauren sat in uncomfortable silence, watching their daughter enjoy her cookie. The Christmas music playing through the coffee shop's speakers felt mocking. "I'll be home for Christmas" drifted through the air, and Tyler saw Lauren flinch at the lyrics. This was not how he'd imagined his Christmas Eve going. This morning felt like a lifetime ago. Now he sat across from the woman he'd once loved more than anything, the woman who'd broken his heart, and he had no idea what to do next. Tyler's coffee had gone cold, but he barely noticed. He watched Rosie lick chocolate from her fingers and couldn't stop thinking about how different life would have been if Lauren had stayed. If she'd just talked to him. If she'd given them a chance to fix whatever had been broken. The divorce papers had arrived at his office on a Tuesday. He remembered that detail clearly because he'd been in a meeting with his construction crew, going over plans for a new development. His secretary had brought the manila envelope in, and Tyler had opened it right there at the conference table. Petition for dissolution of marriage. He'd stared at those words for a full minute before the meaning sank in. Then he'd excused himself, gone to his truck, and sat there in the parking lot for an hour, reading and rereading the document. Lauren was leaving him. She wanted a divorce. She cited irreconcilable differences, which meant nothing and everything at the same time. He'd driven home in a daze, expecting to find her there, expecting to ask her what was happening. But the house had been empty except for Rosie, who his mother was watching. Half of Lauren's clothes were gone. Her toothbrush was gone. The photo of their wedding day that usually sat on the dresser was gone. "Where's Mommy?" Rosie had asked, her 2-year-old voice confused. "Want Mommy?" Tyler hadn't known how to answer. He'd called Lauren's phone over and over, but she never picked up. Finally, she'd sent a text. "I'm sorry. This is better for everyone. My lawyer will be in touch." Better for everyone. The words had made him so angry he'd thrown his phone across the room. How was this better? How was their daughter losing her mother better? How was him losing his wife better? His mother, Patricia, had moved in to help. Tyler had been grateful at the time. He'd been working 50, 60 hours a week, trying to make ends meet and pay the mortgage on his own. Patricia cooked meals, watched Rosie, kept the house running. But her constant presence had also meant constant comments. "I told you she wasn't right for you," Patricia had said a week after Lauren left. She never appreciated what she had. "Mom, please," Tyler had replied, too tired to argue. "I'm just saying you gave her everything. A beautiful home, a child, stability. And she threw it away. Good riddance if you ask me." Tyler hadn't wanted to hear it then, and he'd trained himself not to think about it over the following months. He'd focused on work and on Rosie. He'd learned to braid hair through YouTube videos. He'd figured out the complicated social dynamics of toddler playdates. He'd become both mother and father because he had no other choice. The divorce had been finalized in record time. Lauren hadn't contested anything. She'd agreed to sign over full custody. She hadn't asked for alimony. She'd simply let go of everything. That had hurt almost more than the leaving itself. If she'd fought, at least he would have known she cared. Now, sitting across from her in this coffee shop, Tyler tried to reconcile the woman who'd walked away so easily with the woman who admitted she'd been watching Rosie from a distance. They didn't match up. "Daddy, I'm done," Rosie announced, wiping her hands on a napkin. "Can we see Santa?" "Santa's probably very busy right now, baby," Tyler said. "It's Christmas Eve. He's getting ready to deliver presents." "Oh." Rosie's face fell. Then she brightened. "Can Mommy come see our house?" Tyler's jaw tightened. "Rosie, that's not." "I want to show Mommy my room," Rosie continued, her voice taking on a whining edge that meant she was about to have a tantrum. "Please, Daddy. Please. It's Christmas." Tyler looked at Lauren, who looked stricken. "Rosie, your daddy might not want." "I don't mind," Tyler heard himself say. The words surprised him as much as they seemed to surprise Lauren. But something in him needed answers, and he wasn't going to get them here in a coffee shop with Rosie bouncing between them. "You can come for a little bit. We can talk properly." Lauren's eyes widened. "Are you sure?" No, Tyler wasn't sure. This felt like a terrible idea. But Rosie was already clapping her hands, and he couldn't bear to disappoint his daughter on Christmas Eve. "Follow us," Tyler said, standing up. "We're about 20 minutes away." The drive home felt surreal. Tyler kept glancing in his rearview mirror, seeing Lauren's old sedan following behind him. Rosie chattered excitedly in her car seat, talking about all the things she wanted to show Mommy. Tyler's hands gripped the steering wheel tightly. What was he doing? This woman had walked out on them. She'd destroyed their family. And now he was bringing her into their home, the home she'd abandoned on Christmas Eve of all nights. But he needed to know why. After 3 years of wondering, of making up scenarios in his head, of blaming himself, he needed to hear the truth from her own mouth. They pulled into the driveway of his small 2-bedroom house. It wasn't much. After the divorce, he'd had to sell their larger home and downsize. This place was older, smaller, but it was theirs. He'd made it warm and safe for Rosie. Lauren parked on the street. Tyler helped Rosie out of her car seat, and they waited while Lauren walked up the driveway. She moved slowly, her eyes taking in the house, the small front yard, the Christmas lights Tyler had hung last weekend. "It's nice," Lauren said softly. "It's what I could afford," Tyler replied, his tone sharper than he intended. He unlocked the front door and they stepped inside. The living room was modest but clean. A small Christmas tree stood in the corner, decorated with handmade ornaments from Rosie's preschool and kindergarten classes. Presents were piled underneath, mostly small things Tyler had scraped together money to buy. "Mommy, come see my room." Rosie grabbed Lauren's hand and pulled her down the hallway. Tyler stood in the living room, listening to his daughter's excited voice showing Lauren her toys, her books, her bed with the princess sheets. He heard Lauren's softer responses, heard the emotion in her voice. He sank onto the couch, suddenly exhausted. The adrenaline from the panic of losing Rosie, the shock of seeing Lauren, the confusion of the past hour, it all crashed over him at once. What was he supposed to do now? How was he supposed to handle this? His phone buzzed. A text from his mother. "Where are you? You said you'd be home by 6. I have dinner ready." Tyler had completely forgotten his mother was coming over. She did that every Christmas Eve, brought dinner and stayed to watch Rosie open one present before bed. It was tradition. He texted back. Something came up. "Running late. Don't come over tonight." His mother called immediately. Tyler sighed and answered. "What do you mean don't come over?" Patricia's voice was sharp with concern. "Tyler, what's wrong? Is Rosie okay?" "Rosie's fine," Tyler said, keeping his voice low. We ran into someone at the mall." "Who?" Tyler hesitated. "Lauren." Silence on the other end. Then, "She's there? In town?" "She's been here for 2 years apparently," Tyler said. "And right now she's in Rosie's bedroom because our daughter saw her at the mall and wouldn't let go." "Tyler, you need to get her out of there," Patricia said urgently. "You need to make her leave right now. That woman has no right." "Mom, I need to go." Tyler cut her off. "I'll call you tomorrow." "Tyler James Bennett, you listen to me?" He hung up. He knew he'd pay for that later, but he couldn't deal with his mother's opinions right now. He had enough to process. Lauren emerged from the hallway, Rosie still attached to her hand. "She has a beautiful room," Lauren said, her eyes red. "I tried to make it nice for her," Tyler replied. "You did a wonderful job." Lauren's voice cracked. "Tyler, I need to tell you." "Mommy, stay for dinner," Rosie interrupted. "Please. We have chicken nuggets." Tyler looked at the clock. It was almost 7. Rosie needed to eat and get to bed at a reasonable hour, or Christmas morning would be chaos. "Okay," Tyler said. "Lauren can stay for dinner. But just dinner, Rosie. Then Mommy has to go home." Rosie cheered. Lauren looked like she might cry again. Tyler moved into the small kitchen and pulled out chicken nuggets and frozen fries. It wasn't fancy, but it was what he had. Lauren offered to help, and soon they were working side by side at the counter just like they used to years ago. It was strange and familiar all at once. Their hands brushed when reaching for the same plate, and both jerked back like they'd been burned. Rosie set the table with mismatched plates, humming Christmas carols off-key. They sat down to eat, and Tyler couldn't help but notice how Lauren cut Rosie's food into small pieces without being asked, how she remembered that Rosie liked ketchup with everything. These small maternal actions were still in her muscle memory. "Tell me about school," Lauren said to Rosie. "What grade are you in now?" "Kindergarten," Rosie said proudly. "I can write my whole name." "Want to see?" She jumped up and ran to get paper and crayons, leaving Tyler and Lauren alone at the table. "Thank you," Lauren said quietly, "for letting me stay. I know this must be difficult." "Difficult doesn't begin to cover it," Tyler replied. He put down his fork. "Lauren, I need you to tell me the truth. Why did you leave? And don't give me the irreconcilable differences line. I want the real reason." Lauren's hands twisted in her lap. "Tyler, it's complicated. Then uncomplicate it, he said firmly. You owe me that much. Before Lauren could respond, Rosie bounced back into the room with her crayons. The moment was lost again. Tyler felt frustration building in his chest. Every time they got close to having a real conversation, something interrupted them. Lauren watched Rosie carefully write her name on the paper, each letter formed with the concentration only a 5-year-old could muster. Her heart felt like it was breaking and healing at the same time. This was her daughter. Her baby. And she'd missed so much. She'd missed the first day of kindergarten. She'd missed learning the alphabet and losing the first tooth. She'd missed goodnight kisses and bedtime stories and the million tiny moments that made up childhood. The guilt of it pressed down on her chest until she could barely breathe. See, Mommy? Rosie held up the paper proudly. ROSIE. That's me. That's beautiful, sweetheart, Lauren managed, her voice thick with tears she was trying to hold back. You're such a good writer. Tyler was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. Anger, yes. Confusion. But also something else. Pain, maybe. The same pain she'd been carrying for 3 years. After dinner, Rosie begged to watch a Christmas movie. Tyler agreed, probably because it meant Rosie would sit still and give him a chance to talk to Lauren. They settled on the couch, Rosie between them, and Tyler turned on a cartoon about reindeer. Within 20 minutes, Rosie had fallen asleep, her head resting on Lauren's lap. Lauren stroked her daughter's hair gently, marveling at how much she'd grown. The last time Lauren had held her like this, Rosie had been barely 2 years old. She still falls asleep during movies, Tyler said softly. Some things don't change. I'm glad, Lauren whispered. She looked down at Rosie's peaceful face. She's so beautiful. You've done an amazing job with her. I did what I had to do, Tyler replied. There was an edge to his voice. I didn't have a choice. Lauren flinched at the implication. She deserved that. She deserved all the anger he wanted to throw at her. I should tell you everything, Lauren said quietly, still stroking Rosie's hair. You asked why I left. I owe you the truth. Yes, you do, Tyler said. He muted the television and turned to face her fully. I'm listening. Lauren took a deep breath. Where did she even start? How could she explain the loneliness, the feeling of being invisible in her own home, the constant criticism that had worn her down until she felt like nothing? Your mother hated me, Lauren began. From the day we got engaged, she made it clear I wasn't good enough for you. Tyler's brow furrowed. My mother never said that. Not to you, Lauren said. Never to you. But to me when you weren't around, she said plenty. She told me I didn't know how to keep a proper home. That I was too young and immature to be a good wife. That I would never understand what you needed the way she did. Lauren, that doesn't sound like. Tyler, please, Lauren interrupted. Just let me finish. He pressed his lips together and nodded. After Rosie was born, it got worse, Lauren continued, her voice shaking. Patricia was always at our house. Every single day. She'd come over and reorganize my kitchen because I wasn't doing it right. She'd tell me I was holding Rosie wrong, feeding her wrong, dressing her wrong. Everything I did as a mother was criticized. Why didn't you tell me? Tyler asked, his voice strained. I tried, Lauren said. The old hurt welled up in her throat. Do you remember the time I asked you if your mother could visit less often? You said I was being ungrateful. She was helping us, you said. I should be thankful. Tyler was quiet, and Lauren could see him searching his memory. Or the time I told you that your mother had rearranged all of Rosie's clothes and thrown out the organizational system I'd set up? You said it didn't matter, that I was being too sensitive, that she was just trying to help. I thought. Tyler stopped, running a hand through his hair. I thought you two just had different styles. I didn't realize. Every time I tried to talk to you about it, you defended her, Lauren said, her voice breaking. You'd say she meant well. That she was just excited to be a grandmother. That I was overreacting. After a while, I stopped trying to tell you. What was the point? So you just left? Tyler's voice rose slightly, then dropped again as he remembered Rosie sleeping between them. You didn't fight. You didn't insist I listen. You just gave up. I didn't give up, Lauren said fiercely though quietly. Tyler, I was drowning. Your mother was there more than I was. She picked out Rosie's clothes in the morning. She made most of the meals. She decided on doctor's appointments and playdates. I felt like a guest in my own home, and every time I tried to establish boundaries, you sided with her. Tyler stood up abruptly and walked to the window. His shoulders were tense, his hands clenched at his sides. I remember one day specifically, Lauren continued, her voice barely above a whisper. Rosie had been crying and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. Patricia took her from my arms and said, "Let someone who knows what they're doing handle this." "And you were right there, Tyler. You heard her say it. And you said nothing." "I don't remember that," Tyler said, but his voice was uncertain. "I do," Lauren replied. "I remember every moment like that. They piled up, one after another, until I couldn't breathe anymore. I felt like I wasn't Rosie's mother. I felt like I wasn't your wife. I felt like I was just in the way." Tyler turned back to face her. "So you left us? You left your daughter because my mother was overbearing." "Don't you dare make it sound that simple," Lauren said, anger flashing through her tears. "It wasn't just your mother. It was you, Tyler. You never stood up for me. You never told her to back off. You never chose me." The words hung heavy in the air between them. Rosie stirred slightly in her sleep, and Lauren automatically adjusted her position to make sure her daughter was comfortable. "I thought about taking Rosie with me," Lauren continued, her voice hollow now. "I thought about fighting for custody. But your mother told me that if I tried, she would make sure I never saw Rosie again. She had money for lawyers. I didn't. She told me she would prove I was an unfit mother, that I'd abandoned my family. She said I'd be lucky to get supervised visits once a month." Tyler's face had gone pale. "My mother said that to you?" "Yes," Lauren said. "The day before I filed for divorce. She came to me and said that if I really loved Rosie, I would let her go. That I would sign over custody and disappear so that Rosie could be raised properly. By you and by her. Why didn't you tell me?" Tyler's voice was anguished. "Would you have believed me?" Lauren asked. "Tyler, you never believed me when I told you smaller things. Why would you believe something that big? You would have thought I was making it up to turn you against your mother. She was always so sweet when you were around. The perfect, helpful grandmother and mother-in-law. You never saw the other side of her." Tyler sank back onto the couch, careful not to disturb Rosie. He put his head in his hands. "I can't. I don't know what to." "I'm not telling you this to make you feel guilty," Lauren said. "I'm telling you because you asked why I left. That's why. I felt invisible and inadequate and pushed out of my own family. And when your mother threatened me, I believed her. I believed she would take Rosie away from me completely if I fought. So I thought if I left quietly, maybe someday when Rosie was older I could explain. I could have a relationship with her again. But you moved back here," Tyler said, looking up at her. 2 years ago. Why didn't you contact me then?" Lauren's hands trembled as she continued stroking Rosie's hair. "I wanted to. Every single day I wanted to. But I was terrified. What if you slammed the door in my face? What if you'd turned Rosie against me? What if Patricia had convinced you I was terrible and dangerous? I didn't think I could handle another rejection. So I watched from a distance. I took a job near Rosie's school so I could see her sometimes. I went to places I thought you might go, hoping for a glimpse of her. It was pathetic and sad, but it was all I had. You've been living here for 2 years, watching our daughter grow up from a distance, and you never once tried to reach out?" Tyler's voice was a mixture of disbelief and pain. "I was afraid," Lauren admitted. "And honestly, Tyler, I didn't think I deserved to reach out. I left. I signed away my rights. I thought maybe Rosie was better off without me." "That's not true," Tyler said firmly. "She asks about you all the time. She has your picture by her bed. She made you a Mother's Day card this year even though you weren't here to receive it. She has never stopped loving you or wanting you." Lauren couldn't hold back the tears anymore. They streamed down her face as she looked at her sleeping daughter. "I've wanted her every single day. There hasn't been a moment when I haven't regretted leaving. But I didn't know how to come back. I didn't know how to fix what I'd broken." They sat in silence for a long moment, the only sound the quiet dialogue from the muted movie still playing on the television. Rosie slept peacefully, unaware of the emotional storm happening around her. "I should have listened to you," Tyler finally said, his voice rough. "When you tried to tell me about my mother, I should have listened. I thought I was keeping peace. I thought I was making everyone happy by not taking sides. But I was taking a side, wasn't I? I was choosing her over you." Lauren nodded, unable to speak through her tears. "I'm sorry," Tyler said. "I'm so sorry, Lauren. I failed you as a husband. I didn't protect you. I didn't make you feel safe or valued in your own home. I was so focused on work and on being grateful for my mother's help that I didn't see what it was costing you." "I should have fought harder," Lauren said. "I should have insisted you listen. I should have been stronger. Instead, I ran away. I left my daughter. That's on me, Tyler. No matter what Patricia said or did, I'm the one who walked away. I have to live with that." "We both made mistakes," Tyler said quietly. He reached over and gently touched Rosie's hand where it rested on Lauren's lap. But this little girl deserves better than what we gave her. She deserves both her parents. Lauren looked at him, hope flickering in her chest for the first time in 3 years. What are you saying? I don't know yet, Tyler admitted. This is all so much. But I think we need to talk more. Really talk. Not with Rosie between us, not in bits and pieces between interruptions. We need to figure out what happens next. I'd like that, Lauren whispered. Tyler, I know I have no right to ask for anything. But if there's any chance I could be part of Rosie's life again, even just a small part, I would do anything. I would follow any rules you set. I would. Mommy cries, Rosie said suddenly. Both adults startled. They'd thought she was asleep, but her eyes were open now, looking up at Lauren with a wisdom that seemed far beyond her 5 years. What did you say, baby? Lauren asked, wiping at her tears. Mommy cries, Rosie repeated. I saw you at the park. You were crying. Lauren's heart stopped. You saw me at the park? Rosie nodded. Lots of times. You sit on the bench and watch me play. You always look sad. Why are you sad, Mommy? Tyler looked stunned. Rosie, why didn't you tell me you saw Mommy? I thought you knew, Rosie said simply. I thought grown-ups knew everything. Lauren let out a sound that was half laugh, half sob. Oh, sweetheart. Grown-ups don't know everything. We actually don't know very much at all. Do you cry because you miss me? Rosie asked. Yes, Lauren said honestly. I cry because I miss you so much. More than anything in the whole world. Then why don't you come home? Rosie's question was so innocent, so logical in the way only a child's question could be. If you miss me and Daddy misses you and I miss you, why can't we all be together? Tyler and Lauren looked at each other over their daughter's head. The question was simple. But the answer was anything but. Tyler carried a sleeping Rosie to her bedroom while Lauren waited in the living room, her hands twisted nervously in her lap. When he returned, he found her standing by the Christmas tree, looking at the ornaments with tears in her eyes. She made that one in preschool, Tyler said, pointing to a misshapen clay star. She told her teacher it was for Mommy. Lauren pressed her hand to her mouth, trying to contain a sob. Lauren, sit down, Tyler said, his voice gentler now. We need to talk about this properly. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, the space between them feeling like both a foot and a mile. Tyler looked at the woman he'd once promised to love forever and tried to reconcile all the feelings warring inside him. Anger. Hurt. Confusion. But also something else. Something that felt almost like understanding. I need you to know something, Tyler started. When you left, I was destroyed. I didn't just lose my wife. I lost my best friend. I lost the person I thought I'd spend my life with, and I had no idea why. The not knowing was almost worse than the leaving. I know, Lauren whispered. Tyler, I'm so sorry. Let me finish, he said. I spent months, years trying to figure out what I'd done wrong. I worked too much, I thought. I wasn't attentive enough. I wasn't a good enough husband or father. I blamed myself for everything. It wasn't your fault, Lauren said. But it was partly, Tyler replied. Not the way I thought. I didn't cheat or abuse or neglect you in the ways I was worried about. But Lauren, you're right. I didn't listen. I didn't stand up for you. I let my mother boundary stomp all over our marriage, and I told you that you were overreacting when you tried to address it. He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture Lauren recognized from 1,000 past conversations. I was so grateful to have her help, Tyler continued. After Rosie was born, I was working 60-hour weeks trying to get promoted. I was exhausted all the time. When my mother offered to help, it felt like a lifeline. I didn't see that her help came with strings. I didn't see that she was slowly taking over. She loves you, Lauren said. And she loves Rosie. I don't think she even realized what she was doing half the time. She just thought she knew best. That doesn't excuse it, Tyler said firmly. She had no right to speak to you the way she did. And she definitely had no right to threaten you about custody. That's... He stopped, anger flashing across his face. That's manipulation and bullying. And I should have protected you from it. You didn't know, Lauren said. I should have known, Tyler countered. You tried to tell me and I dismissed you. That's on me, Lauren. I made you feel like your feelings didn't matter. Like my mother's comfort was more important than yours. What kind of husband does that? They sat in heavy silence. The Christmas tree lights blinked softly in the corner, casting colored shadows across the room. Where do we go from here? Lauren finally asked. I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't expect anything, Tyler. But Rosie, she saw me at the park. She knows I've been around. And tonight, seeing her, holding her, it reminded me of everything I gave up. Everything I lost. You didn't lose it, Tyler said. You left it. I know, Lauren said, her voice breaking. I know I did. And I hate myself for it every single day. But Tyler, I was 24 years old. I felt like I was failing at everything. Your mother made me feel worthless and you didn't see it happening. I thought Rosie would be better off without a mother who couldn't get anything right. I thought you'd both be better off. That was never true, Tyler said. Rosie needed you. She still needs you. Does she? Lauren looked at him with desperate hope. Or has she adjusted? Has she built a life without me where I'm just a distant memory? Look around this house, Tyler said, gesturing to the living room. Do you see that picture on the wall? Lauren followed his gaze to a photo of the three of them from when Rosie was a baby. They looked so happy, so young, so in love. I kept every picture, Tyler said. I didn't take them down or hide them away. I wanted Rosie to know she had a mother who loved her. I read her the bedtime stories you used to read. I made the same recipes you used to make. I tried to keep you present in her life even though you were gone. Lauren's tears flowed freely now. Why? After I abandoned you both, why would you do that? Because you're her mother, Tyler said simply. And despite everything, I didn't want her to grow up thinking you didn't love her. I was angry at you, furious even, but I never wanted Rosie to hurt because of our problems. You're a better person than I am, Lauren whispered. No, Tyler said. I'm just a father who loves his daughter. And I can see, Lauren, that you love her too. You made a terrible mistake, but it came from a place of pain and fear, not from not caring. Lauren looked at him, searching his face. What are you saying? Tyler took a deep breath. I'm saying that I think we need to figure out a way for you to be in Rosie's life again. I don't know what that looks like yet. Maybe supervised visits at first. Maybe we need to go to counseling, all of us. But that little girl sleeping in there deserves to have her mother if her mother wants to be there. I want to be there, Lauren said urgently. More than anything. Tyler, I would do anything. Any boundaries you want to set, any rules you want to make, I'll follow them. I just want a chance to be her mother again. It won't be easy, Tyler warned. There's a lot of hurt to work through. A lot of trust to rebuild. And my mother. He stopped, his jaw tightening. I need to talk to my mother. I need to hear her side of this. And if what you've told me is true, I need to set some very firm boundaries. I don't want to come between you and your mother, Lauren said. You're not coming between us, Tyler replied. She did that herself if she really said those things to you. A grandmother doesn't threaten to take a child away from their mother. That's cruel and wrong. He stood up and paced to the window, looking out at the dark street. Tomorrow's Christmas. Rosie's going to wake up excited. She's going to want you to stay for present opening, and honestly, I think we should let her have that. But after Christmas, we need to sit down and make a real plan. We need to figure out custody arrangements, visitation schedules, all of it. Okay, Lauren agreed quickly. Whatever you think is best. Tyler turned back to face her. I need you to understand something, though. If you do this, if you come back into Rosie's life, you can't leave again. You can't get scared or overwhelmed and disappear. That would destroy her. Would destroy me too. So you need to be absolutely sure this is what you want. I'm sure, Lauren said without hesitation. Tyler, I've spent 3 years regretting my decision. 3 years wishing I could go back and do things differently. I'm not going anywhere. Not ever again. You say that now, Tyler said. But what happens when things get hard? When Rosie has a tantrum or I say something that hurts your feelings or life just becomes overwhelming? Then I'll talk to you about it, Lauren said firmly. I'll communicate instead of running away. I'll fight for my family instead of giving up. I was young and scared and stupid 3 years ago, Tyler. I'm not that person anymore. Tyler studied her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. Okay, we'll try this. But Lauren, I need you to promise me something. Anything, she said. Promise me you'll be honest with me, Tyler said. About everything. Your feelings, your struggles, your concerns. No more hiding or running away. If we're going to do this, we do it with open communication. I promise, Lauren said. I swear to you, Tyler. I'll be completely honest from now on. They stood there in the quiet living room, the weight of their conversation settling over them. Outside, snow had begun to fall, dusting the street in white. It looked like a scene from a Christmas card, peaceful and pure. You can stay tonight, Tyler said suddenly. On the couch, I mean. It's late and the roads are getting bad. Plus, Rosie will be so excited to see you here on Christmas morning. Lauren's eyes widened. Tyler, are you sure? I don't want to impose. You're not imposing, Tyler said. This is for Rosie. She deserves to have both her parents here on Christmas. Thank you, Lauren whispered. Thank you so much. Tyler went to get blankets and a pillow. When he returned, he handed them to Lauren and then paused. For what it's worth, he said quietly, I'm sorry too. I'm sorry I didn't listen when you needed me to. I'm sorry I let my mother's behavior slide. I'm sorry I made you feel invisible in your own home. That wasn't fair to you. We both made mistakes, Lauren said. But maybe we can learn from them. Tyler nodded. Maybe we can. Merry Christmas, Lauren. Merry Christmas, Tyler. He went to his bedroom and closed the door. Lauren stood alone in the living room, holding the blankets, barely able to believe what had just happened. She'd gone from watching her daughter from a distance to being invited to spend Christmas with her. Felt like a dream. She made up the couch and lay down, but she knew she wouldn't sleep. Her mind was racing with everything that had happened, everything that had been said. Tyler had listened to her. He believed her. He was willing to give her another chance. She thought about Patricia and felt a mixture of anger and pity. The older woman had wanted to help, but her help had become controlling. Her love for her son and granddaughter had twisted into something toxic. Lauren would have to face her eventually, and that conversation would not be easy. But for now, on Christmas Eve, Lauren let herself feel hope for the first time in 3 years. Hope that she could rebuild a relationship with her daughter. Hope that maybe someday she and Tyler could find their way back to friendship, if not more. Hope that families really could heal. In Rosie's bedroom, the little girl slept with a smile on her face, her Christmas wish already coming true. Rosie's shriek of joy woke the entire house at 6 in the morning. Mommy? Mommy's still here. Daddy, Daddy, wake up. Mommy stayed for Christmas. Tyler stumbled out of his bedroom, his hair messed up from sleep, to find Rosie jumping on the couch where Lauren was just waking up. Lauren caught Rosie in a hug, and the pure happiness on both their faces made Tyler's chest ache. Merry Christmas, baby girl, Lauren said, kissing Rosie's forehead over and over. Merry Christmas. Can we open presents? Can we? Please? Rosie bounced with excitement. Let's have breakfast first, Tyler said, trying to sound more awake than he felt. How about pancakes? Mommy makes the best pancakes, Rosie announced. Then she looked between her parents with sudden shyness. Can Mommy make them? Lauren glanced at Tyler, uncertainty in her eyes. He nodded. I'd love to, Lauren said softly. They moved into the kitchen, and soon the smell of pancakes filled the small house. Rosie chattered nonstop, telling Lauren about school and her friends and her teacher, Miss Andrews, who was nice but sometimes talked too loud. Lauren listened to every word like it was precious. Tyler made coffee and watched them together. His mother would be furious when she found out about this. But looking at the joy on Rosie's face, Tyler knew he'd made the right choice. After breakfast, they settled around the Christmas tree. Rosie tore into her presents with abandon, showing each one to Lauren with delight. A new doll, art supplies, books, clothes. Tyler had done his best with his limited budget. This is the best Christmas ever, Rosie declared, hugging her new doll. Because Mommy's here. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. It's my best Christmas too, sweetheart. Tyler's phone buzzed. His mother. He let it go to voicemail. It buzzed again immediately. And again. You should probably answer that, Lauren said quietly, noticing. Tyler sighed. Yeah, I should. He picked up the phone and went into his bedroom, closing the door. Merry Christmas, Mom, he said, trying to sound normal. Don't you Merry Christmas me? Patricia's voice was sharp. I've been calling you since last night. What's going on? Where are you? I'm at home, Tyler said. We're having Christmas morning. We. Patricia's voice rose. Tyler, tell me that woman is not in your house right now. Tyler's jaw tightened. Lauren is here, yes. She stayed the night on the couch and she's spending Christmas with us. With Rosie. Have you lost your mind? Patricia demanded. That woman abandoned you. She walked away from her own child. And you're just welcoming her back like nothing happened? It's not that simple, Mom, Tyler said. He could feel his anger building. There are things you don't know. I know everything I need to know, Patricia said. I know she's unstable and unreliable. I know she hurt you and Rosie. And I know you're making a huge mistake. Actually, Tyler said, his voice cold now, I think we need to have a conversation about some things Lauren told me. About conversations you had with her. Conversations I never knew about. There was a pause. I don't know what she's been telling you, but... Did you threaten her? Tyler interrupted. Did you tell her you'd make sure she never saw Rosie again if she fought for custody? Another pause, longer this time. Tyler, I was protecting you. She was going to destroy your life. You had no right, Tyler said, his voice shaking with anger now. You had no right to interfere in my marriage like that. You had no right to threaten the mother of my child. She was a terrible mother, Patricia argued. She couldn't handle the responsibilities. She was too young, too immature. She felt like a terrible mother because you constantly criticized everything she did, Tyler shot back. You undermined her at every turn. You made her feel worthless in her own home. That's not true, Patricia said, but her voice had less conviction now. Isn't it? Tyler challenged. Tell me honestly, Mom. Did you ever tell Lauren she was doing a good job? Did you ever support her choices as a mother? Or did you spend every visit telling her she was doing things wrong? Silence. I thought I was helping, Patricia finally said, her voice smaller. You two were so young. I thought you needed guidance. We needed support, not control, Tyler said. There's a difference. And because you couldn't see that difference because you had to have everything done your way, my wife felt so pushed out of her own family that she left. Do you understand that, Mom? Your behavior contributed to the destruction of my marriage. Tyler, you don't mean that, Patricia said, and Tyler could hear tears in her voice now. I love you. I love Rosie. I was only trying to help. I know you love us, Tyler said, his voice softening slightly. But love without respect isn't healthy. You didn't respect Lauren as a mother or as my wife. You didn't respect our marriage or our boundaries. And that has to change. What are you saying? Patricia asked. I'm saying that if Lauren is going to be part of Rosie's life again, you're going to have to accept that, Tyler said firmly. You're going to have to treat her with respect. No more criticism, no more undermining, no more interfering. If you can't do that, then I need to limit your time with Rosie. You can't be serious, Patricia gasped. Tyler, I'm your mother. I'm Rosie's grandmother. And you'll always be those things, Tyler said. But I'm setting boundaries now, Mom. Real boundaries. Lauren is Rosie's mother, and nothing you say or do will change that. If you want to be part of our lives, you need to respect that fact. He could hear his mother crying on the other end of the line. Part of him felt guilty, but a larger part felt relieved. He should have done this 3 years ago. He should have stood up for Lauren then. I need some time, Patricia said, her voice thick with tears. This is a lot to process. Take all the time you need, Tyler said. But Mom, I mean what I said. Things are going to be different from now on. He hung up and stood there for a moment, his hands shaking slightly. That had been one of the hardest conversations of his life, but it had been necessary. When he returned to the living room, Lauren looked at him with concern. Is everything okay? It will be, Tyler said. He sat down next to Rosie, who was playing with her new toys. My mother and I had a long overdue conversation. I'm sorry, Lauren said softly. I didn't mean to cause problems between you two. You didn't cause the problems, Tyler said. They were already there. I just wasn't willing to see them before. They spent the rest of the morning playing with Rosie's new toys. Lauren seemed to relax as the hours passed, becoming more comfortable in the house, more like herself. Tyler watched her and tried to remember the woman he'd fallen in love with. She was still there, underneath the pain and regret. Still kind, still gentle, still good with their daughter. Around lunchtime, while Rosie was distracted with her toys, Tyler and Lauren found themselves in the kitchen together again. I need to tell you something else, Lauren said, her voice hesitant. About why I moved back to town. Tyler leaned against the counter. I'm listening. I told myself it was because I found a good job here, Lauren said. And that was part of it. But really I came back because I couldn't stay away anymore. I tried, Tyler. I tried to build a new life somewhere else. But every single day I thought about Rosie. Every birthday, every Christmas, every milestone I was missing. It was killing me. So you came back but you didn't reach out, Tyler said, trying to understand. Why? Fear, Lauren admitted. And shame. I was terrified you'd reject me. That you'd tell me I had no right to come back after what I'd done. So I told myself that just being near her was enough. That seeing her from a distance was better than nothing. Was it? Tyler asked. Better than nothing? Lauren shook her head, tears welling up. No. It was torture. Watching her play at the park and not being able to run to her. Seeing her at school drop off and having to stay in my car. Following you both through the grocery store once just to hear her voice. I felt like a creep, like a stalker. But I couldn't stop myself. Lauren, Tyler said gently, you're not a stalker. You're a mother who missed her child. I don't deserve your understanding, Lauren said. I left Tyler. I gave up my rights. I have no one to blame but myself for the pain I've been in. We all make mistakes, Tyler said. Some are bigger than others. But you're here now. You're trying to make it right. That has to count for something. Lauren wiped her eyes. I've been seeing a therapist. For about a year now. Working through all the guilt and regret. Trying to understand why I made the choices I did. She helped me see that I was dealing with a lot of anxiety and depression after Rosie was born. Combined with your mother's criticism and feeling unsupported by you, it all became too much. You were depressed? Tyler felt another wave of guilt. I didn't know. I didn't tell you, Lauren said. I was ashamed. I thought something was wrong with me. Here I had this beautiful baby, and I couldn't even enjoy being her mother because I felt so inadequate all the time. That sounds like postpartum depression, Tyler said quietly. Lauren, you should have gotten help. We should have gotten you help. I know that now, Lauren said. But at the time I just thought I was failing. That I was a bad mother. And when your mother kept pointing out everything I was doing wrong, it confirmed what I already believed about myself. Tyler moved closer to her. I'm so sorry. For all of it. For not seeing what you were going through. For not standing up for you. For making you feel alone when you needed support the most. We were both so young, Lauren said. We got married at 22, had Rosie at 23. We didn't know what we were doing. No, Tyler agreed. But we should have figured it out together. Instead, I let my mother drive a wedge between us. They stood in the quiet kitchen, years of hurt and misunderstanding laid bare between them. From the living room they could hear Rosie singing to her new doll. What happens now? Lauren asked. After today, I mean. Tyler thought about it. We take it slow. We set up a regular visitation schedule so Rosie can see you consistently. Maybe we start with a few hours a week and build from there. We can do family counseling if you're willing. And we figure out how to co-parent, even if we're not together. I'm willing to do anything, Lauren said quickly. Whatever it takes. Good, Tyler said. Because this is going to take work from both of us. And we have to put Rosie first always. Always, Lauren echoed. Tyler's phone rang again. He glanced at the screen and sighed. It's my mother again. You should answer, Lauren said. She's probably worried. Tyler answered. Mom? Tyler, I've been thinking about what you said. Patricia's voice was calmer now, though still tearful. And I want to talk. Really talk. Not on the phone. Can I come over? Tyler looked at Lauren, who nodded. Okay, Tyler said. But Mom, you need to be respectful. Lauren is here and she's staying. I understand, Patricia said quietly. I'll be there in an hour. Tyler hung up and looked at Lauren. She's coming over. Are you okay with that? I have to face her eventually, Lauren said, though Tyler could see the fear in her eyes. Might as well be now. The next hour passed too quickly. Rosie, oblivious to the tension, played happily with her parents. Lauren helped her build a tower with her new blocks. Tyler took pictures, wanting to capture this moment, this day when their family had started to heal. When the doorbell rang, they all froze. Rosie jumped up. Is that Grandma? Yes, baby, Tyler said. Grandma's here. He opened the door. Patricia stood on the porch, holding a shopping bag of presents. Her eyes were red from crying, and when she saw Lauren standing in the living room, her whole body tensed. Hi, Mom, Tyler said. Come in. Patricia stepped inside slowly. She looked at Lauren for a long moment, and Lauren looked back, neither of them speaking. Grandma. Rosie ran over. Guess what? Mommy came for Christmas. And she's staying? Patricia's face crumpled. Tyler couldn't tell if she was going to cry or get angry. But then, to his surprise, his mother took a deep breath and knelt down to Rosie's level. That's wonderful, sweetheart, Patricia said, her voice strained but genuine. I'm very happy for you. She stood up and looked at Lauren again. Can we talk? The three of us. Lauren nodded and Tyler gestured to the couch. They all sat down, the tension so thick it was hard to breathe. Rosie, sensing something was happening, took her toys to her room. I owe you an apology, Patricia said, looking at Lauren. Her voice shook. Tyler told me some things this morning that I've been thinking about. And he's right. I was wrong. I was controlling and critical, and I made you feel unwelcome in your own home. Lauren looked shocked. She clearly expected anger, not an apology. I convinced myself I was helping, Patricia continued. But I was really trying to do things my way because I thought I knew best. I undermined you as a mother and I'm sorry. Truly sorry. Thank you, Lauren said softly. That means a lot. I also need to apologize for threatening you, Patricia said, tears streaming down her face now. Tyler told me what I said to you about custody. I was angry and scared. I thought you were going to hurt my son and granddaughter. But that didn't give me the right to say those things. I was cruel and I'm ashamed of myself. Tyler watched this exchange in amazement. He'd never heard his mother admit she was wrong about anything. I forgive you, Lauren said, and Tyler could see that she meant it. We've all made mistakes. But if we're going to move forward, we need to start fresh. With respect and boundaries. I agree, Patricia said. And I promise I'll do better. I'll respect your role as Rosie's mother. I'll support you both instead of interfering. Thank you, Lauren said again, wiping her own tears. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of years of conflict beginning to lift. So, Patricia said, trying to smile, can I give Rosie her Christmas presents? Of course, Tyler said, relief flooding through him. Rosie was called back into the living room, and the rest of Christmas Day passed with surprising normalcy. Patricia was quieter than usual, but she was warm to Lauren. She asked Lauren about her job, her apartment, her life. She listened instead of lecturing. As evening approached and Lauren prepared to leave, Rosie clung to her legs. When can I see you again, Mommy? She asked, her voice anxious. Very soon, baby, Lauren promised. Your daddy and I are going to work out a schedule so you can see me all the time. Every day? Rosie asked hopefully. We'll see, Tyler said gently. But definitely very often. He walked Lauren to her car. The evening was cold and clear, and stars were beginning to appear in the darkening sky. Thank you, Lauren said. For today. For everything. Tyler, you gave me back my daughter. That's a gift I can never repay. You don't need to repay it, Tyler said. Rosie needs her mother. And despite everything, I can see that you love her. That's what matters. Lauren hesitated, then reached out and squeezed Tyler's hand briefly. We're going to make this work. I promise you, I won't let you or Rosie down again. I believe you, Tyler said. And he realized he meant it. He watched her drive away, then went back inside where Rosie and his mother were picking up wrapping paper. Daddy, Rosie said, running to him. This was the best Christmas ever. Tyler hugged his daughter close, looking over her head at his mother, who smiled at him with tears in her eyes. Yes, baby, Tyler said. Yes, it was. The week after Christmas passed in a blur of phone calls and text messages. Tyler and Lauren worked out a preliminary schedule for Rosie to spend time with her mother. They agreed to start small. Lauren would come over for dinner twice a week, and Rosie could visit Lauren's apartment for a few hours on Saturday afternoons. Tyler found himself thinking about Lauren constantly. Not in a romantic way necessarily, but in a deeply contemplative one. He kept replaying their marriage in his mind, seeing moments he'd completely misinterpreted or ignored. He remembered one night about 6 months after Rosie was born. He'd come home from work to find Lauren crying in the nursery while his mother fed the baby a bottle. His mother had explained that Lauren was just overwhelmed and had suggested Tyler let her handle things. Tyler had agreed, thinking he was giving Lauren a break. Now he realized he'd sent the message that he didn't think Lauren was capable, that his mother was more competent, more needed. He hadn't comforted Lauren or asked what was wrong. He'd just accepted his mother's assessment and moved on. There were dozens of moments like that. Hundreds maybe. Small dismissals that had added up over time until Lauren felt completely pushed aside. Tyler called his sister Angela, who lived 2 states away. She was 3 years younger than him and had always been more perceptive about relationships. I need to talk to you about something, Tyler said when she answered. About Lauren and our marriage. Finally, Angela said. I've been waiting 3 years for you to call me about this. What do you mean? Tyler asked, confused. Tyler, I love you, but you were kind of oblivious during your marriage, Angela said gently. Mom was all over Lauren. I tried to mention it a few times, but you always defended Mom. Tyler felt another wave of guilt. You saw it too? Everyone saw it except you, Angela said. Mom meant well, but she couldn't let go. And Lauren was so young and sweet. She never stood up for herself. I felt bad for her, honestly. Why didn't you say something more directly? Tyler asked. I tried, Angela said. Remember when I suggested you and Lauren take a weekend away alone, without Mom or Rosie? You said you couldn't leave Rosie with a babysitter, that she needed family. I was trying to tell you that you needed time as a couple, but you didn't hear me. Tyler did remember that conversation. He'd thought Angela was being pushy. I messed up, Tyler said. Really badly. Yeah, you did, Angela agreed. But the fact that you're realizing it now means something. So what are you going to do about it? I'm letting Lauren back into Rosie's life, Tyler said. We're setting up a visitation schedule. And I'm trying to be better about setting boundaries with Mom. That's good, Angela said. How's Mom handling it? Surprisingly well actually, Tyler said. She apologized to Lauren on Christmas. I've never seen her do that before. Mom's not a bad person, Angela said. She just has control issues. But if she's willing to work on that, there's hope. After he hung up with Angela, Tyler spent some time looking through old photos on his computer. Pictures from his and Lauren's wedding. Pictures of Lauren pregnant, glowing with happiness. Pictures of the three of them when Rosie was a newborn. In every photo, Tyler could now see what he'd missed before. Lauren's smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. The way she stood slightly apart from him and his mother in family shots. The tiredness in her face that he'd attributed to new motherhood but was really exhaustion from feeling inadequate. How had he been so blind? On Thursday evening, Lauren came over for dinner as planned. Tyler had made spaghetti, one of Rosie's favorites. Rosie was so excited that she'd changed her outfit 3 times before Lauren arrived. Mommy? Rosie threw herself at Lauren the moment she walked in the door. Hi, sweetheart, Lauren said, lifting Rosie up and spinning her around. I missed you. I missed you more, Rosie declared. They had a good dinner. Rosie talked non-stop, telling Lauren about everything that had happened since Christmas. Lauren listened with complete attention, asking questions and laughing at Rosie's stories. After dinner, while Rosie played in her room, Tyler and Lauren cleaned up together. She seems really happy, Lauren said softly. I was worried she might be confused or upset, but she's just happy. Kids are resilient, Tyler said. And she's wanted this for so long. Having you back is like a dream come true for her. I still can't believe you're letting me do this, Lauren said. After everything, you'd have every right to keep me away. But you're being so gracious. Tyler rinsed a plate and handed it to Lauren to put in the dishwasher. They worked in comfortable rhythm, a pattern remembered from years ago. I've been thinking a lot, Tyler said. About our marriage. About all the ways I failed you. Tyler, we don't need to. Yes, we do, Tyler interrupted gently. Because I need you to know that I understand now. I see how I contributed to you leaving. How I prioritized keeping peace with my mother over making you feel valued. How I dismissed your concerns and made you feel like your feelings didn't matter. Lauren stopped loading the dishwasher and looked at him. I was a bad husband, Tyler continued. Not in the dramatic ways like cheating or abuse. But in the quiet ways that are just as damaging. I didn't protect you. I didn't make our marriage the priority. I let my mother insert herself into our relationship in ways that were unhealthy, and when you tried to talk to me about it, I made you feel like you were the problem. You were trying to keep everyone happy, Lauren said. I understand that now. You were caught in the middle. That's not an excuse, Tyler said firmly. You were my wife. You should have come first always. And I'm sorry that you didn't. I'm sorry for all the times I chose my mother's feelings over yours. I'm sorry for making you feel invisible and inadequate when you were actually an amazing mother and wife. Lauren's eyes filled with tears. You really mean that? Every word, Tyler said. And if I could go back and do things differently, I would. I'd stand up to my mother. I'd make you feel cherished and valued. I'd be the husband you deserved. We were both so young, Lauren said. We made mistakes. Yes, but your mistakes came from a place of pain and desperation, Tyler said. Mine came from thoughtlessness and cowardice. I was afraid of conflict with my mother, so I avoided it at your expense. That's not okay. They stood in the kitchen, the dishwasher humming between them. Tyler wanted to hug her, to comfort her, but he didn't know if that would be appropriate. So much had happened between them. So much hurt in time. Thank you for saying that, Lauren finally said. You don't know how much I needed to hear it. I've spent 3 years believing that the divorce was all my fault. That I was too weak, too sensitive, too damaged. Hearing you acknowledge your part in what happened, it helps. It wasn't all your fault, Tyler said. Not even close. And Lauren, I want you to know that I don't blame you anymore. I'm not angry. I'm actually grateful, in a strange way, because this whole situation has forced me to examine myself and my relationships. I'm going to be a better father, a better son, a better person because of it. You're already a wonderful father, Lauren said. Rosie is proof of that. She's happy and healthy and loved. You did that, Tyler. You raised her alone and did an incredible job. I had help, Tyler said. My mother's issues aside, she was there for us. And I appreciate that. But I should have been able to do it with you. We should have been a team. Maybe we can be now, Lauren said hesitantly. A team, I mean. As co-parents. I'd like that, Tyler said. Rosie came running into the kitchen. Mommy, will you read me a story? Please? Lauren looked at Tyler, who nodded. Of course, baby. Which book do you want? All of them. Rosie declared, making both adults laugh. They ended up on Rosie's bed, one parent on each side, reading story after story until Rosie's eyes grew heavy. Tyler watched Lauren smooth back their daughter's hair, her touch so gentle and loving. This was what Rosie had been missing. This maternal tenderness that no one else could provide. When Rosie finally fell asleep, they crept out of her room and returned to the living room. I should probably go, Lauren said, though she didn't move toward the door. Can I ask you something? Tyler said. What made you come to the mall that day? On Christmas Eve. Lauren looked down at her hands. I go every year. To the mall, to places where I might see Rosie. It's become this sad little tradition. I torture myself with glimpses of the life I gave up. But this year, when Rosie ran up to me and hugged me, I felt like maybe it was a sign. Like maybe the universe was giving me another chance. Do you believe in signs? Tyler asked. I don't know, Lauren admitted. But I'm grateful for that moment, whatever caused it. It brought me back to my daughter. It brought me back to you in a way. And even if we never get back what we lost, even if we only ever co-parent, that's more than I ever hoped for. Tyler studied her face. She looked so different from the girl he'd married. Older, yes, but also wiser. Sadder but stronger. He wondered if she saw changes in him too. I've started seeing a therapist, Tyler said. I made an appointment for next week. I figure if we're going to do this co-parenting thing right, I need to work on my own issues. My people-pleasing tendencies, my conflict avoidance, all of it. Lauren smiled. That's really mature of you. I'm trying to grow up, Tyler said with a small smile. Better late than never. They talked for another hour about small things and big things. About Rosie's upcoming school performance and about their hopes for the future. It was the longest, most honest conversation they'd had in years. When Lauren finally did leave, Tyler stood at the door watching her car disappear down the street. He felt something shift in his chest. Not romantic love exactly, but something close to it. Respect maybe. Admiration. Hope. He went to check on Rosie one more time before bed. She was sleeping peacefully, her new doll clutched in her arms. Tyler kissed her forehead and whispered, I'm going to do better, baby. For you and for your mommy. I promise. That night, Tyler lay in bed thinking about the future. He didn't know exactly what it would look like. Maybe he and Lauren would only ever be co-parents. Maybe, with time and healing, they could become friends again. Or maybe, just maybe, they could find their way back to something more. But that was a long way off. For now, he needed to focus on being the father Rosie deserved and the co-parent Lauren needed. He needed to continue setting boundaries with his mother while maintaining their relationship. He needed to work on himself in therapy. It was a lot to handle. But for the first time in 3 years, Tyler felt hopeful. His family wasn't traditional anymore. It was broken and being pieced back together in a new shape. But maybe that was okay. Maybe broken things, when mended with care and honesty, could become even stronger than before. Saturday morning arrived bright and cold. Tyler helped Rosie pack a small bag for her first visit to Lauren's apartment. Rosie was bouncing with excitement, unable to stand still while Tyler tried to zip up her jacket. Daddy, do you think Mommy has toys at her house? Rosie asked for the 10th time. I'm sure she has some things for you, Tyler said. But even if she doesn't, you'll have fun just being with her. Can I bring Mr. Fluff? Rosie held up her favorite stuffed rabbit, which had seen better days. Of course, Tyler said. He'd been nervous about this moment all week. Sending Rosie off with Lauren felt huge, even though it was only for a few hours. When Lauren arrived, she looked nervous too. Tyler noticed she was wearing a red sweater, the color Rosie had said was her favorite. Hi, Lauren said, giving Tyler a tentative smile. Hi, he replied. Rosie's all ready. They walked to Lauren's car together. Tyler buckled Rosie into the car seat he'd helped Lauren install earlier that week, double-checking all the straps. We'll be back by 3 like we discussed, Lauren said. I have my phone if you need anything. I know, Tyler said. He forced himself to step back from the car, even though part of him wanted to grab Rosie and keep her home where he knew she was safe. But that wasn't fair to either of them. Bye, Daddy. Rosie called out the window as they drove away. Tyler stood in the driveway until the car disappeared, then went back inside. The house felt impossibly quiet. He'd had time alone before when Rosie was at his mother's house or at preschool, but this felt different. This felt like sharing custody, like being a divorced parent, which he supposed he was. He tried to do chores but he couldn't focus. He checked his phone every 5 minutes, even though Lauren had only been gone 20 minutes. Finally, he texted Angela. "Rosie's with Lauren. I'm freaking out a little." Angela responded immediately, "That's normal. But she's with her mother. She'll be fine. Go do something to distract yourself." Tyler decided to go to the gym, something he rarely had time for anymore. The physical exertion helped, and by the time he got home and showered, it was already noon. Only 3 more hours. At Lauren's apartment, things were going better than she'd hoped. The small one-bedroom place was modest, but she'd done her best to make it welcoming. She'd set up a corner of the living room with toys and books she'd been slowly collecting over the past few weeks. A child-sized table sat with coloring books and crayons. "This is where you live?" Rosie asked, looking around with wide eyes. "Yes," Lauren said nervously. "It's not very big, but it's cozy. What do you think?" "I like it," Rosie declared. She went straight to the toy corner and started exploring. Lauren watched her daughter play, her heart so full it hurt. This was real. Rosie was here in her apartment, playing with toys Lauren had bought for her. Felt like a dream. "Mommy, can we make cookies?" Rosie asked suddenly. "Absolutely," Lauren said. She'd bought ingredients just in case Rosie asked for this. They spent the next hour making chocolate chip cookies, getting flour everywhere and laughing when Rosie tried to eat the dough. "These are the best cookies ever," Rosie announced, taking a bite of a still-warm cookie. "That's because you helped make them," Lauren said, brushing a smudge of flour off Rosie's cheek. They ate cookies and milk while watching a cartoon movie. Rosie snuggled up against Lauren's side, and Lauren wrapped her arm around her daughter, breathing in the smell of her shampoo and feeling more content than she'd felt in years. "Mommy," Rosie said during a commercial break. "Why did you go away?" Lauren's breath caught. She'd known this question was coming, but she still didn't know how to answer it properly. "That's a complicated question, sweetie," Lauren said carefully. "Sometimes grown-ups make mistakes. I made a really big mistake when I left you and Daddy." "Because you were sad?" Rosie asked. "Yes," Lauren said, grateful that Rosie had given her an easy answer. "I was very sad and I didn't know how to make myself feel better. So I left thinking it would help. But it didn't. It just made me sadder because I missed you so much." "Are you still sad?" Rosie asked, her face concerned. "Not right now," Lauren said honestly. "Right now, sitting here with you, I'm happier than I've been in a very long time." Rosie seemed satisfied with this answer. They went back to watching the movie, but Lauren could feel her mind working on something. "Mommy," Rosie said a little while later, "do you love Daddy?" Lauren froze. This was dangerous territory. "Your daddy is a good man," she said carefully. "He's a wonderful father to you. But do you love him?" Rosie persisted with the straightforward logic of a 5-year-old. "I care about him very much," Lauren said, which was true. "We're not married anymore, but that doesn't mean we don't care about each other." "Emma's parents got divorced," Rosie said, referring to a classmate. "But then they got married again. Can you and Daddy do that?" Lauren's heart broke a little. "Oh, sweetie. That's complicated. Your daddy and I are working on being friends again. That's what's important right now. But I want us to be a family," Rosie said, her voice taking on a whining tone. "Like we used to be. Like the picture in my room." Lauren knew the picture Rosie meant. The one Tyler had kept up of the 3 of them at the beach back when Rosie was just a baby. They looked so happy in that photo. So full of hope. "We are a family," Lauren said gently. "Families can look different ways. Some kids have parents who live together, some have parents who live apart. But the love is the same." "It's not the same," Rosie said, her eyes filling with tears. "I want you to live with us. I want you to be there when I wake up and when I go to bed. I want a normal family." "Rosie, baby," Lauren said, pulling her daughter into a hug. "I know this is hard. But your daddy and I are doing our best. And I promise you, you will see me all the time now. Maybe not every single day, but so much more than before." Rosie cried for a few minutes and Lauren just held her, rocking her gently. When the tears subsided, Rosie pulled back and looked at her mother with red eyes. "Can I ask Daddy if you can move back in?" Rosie asked. "Sweetie, that's not something that can happen right now," Lauren said. "But why not?" Rosie's voice was rising. "You said you're friends now. Friends can live together. Mia lives with her friend's family." "That's different," Lauren tried to explain. "Adults who used to be married, it's more complicated." "Everything is always complicated," Rosie said, frustration evident in her voice. "I just want my mommy and daddy together. That's not complicated." Lauren felt tears streaming down her own face. "You're right," she said. It's not complicated at all when you put it like that. But sometimes grown-ups mess things up and it takes time to fix them. They sat together on the couch, both crying now, holding each other. Lauren felt the weight of every choice she'd made, every day she'd missed, every moment she'd lost. And she felt the desperate wish of her daughter to have a complete family. When 3 o'clock approached, Lauren helped Rosie gather her things. Rosie was quieter now, subdued after their emotional conversation. "Did you have fun today?" Lauren asked as they drove back to Tyler's house. "Yes," Rosie said. "But Mommy?" "Yes, baby? Will you think about what I said? About moving back in with us?" Lauren's hands tightened on the steering wheel. "Rosie, that's something I'd have to talk to your daddy about. And it's not something that could happen quickly, even if we both wanted it." "But you'll think about it?" Rosie persisted. "I'll think about it," Lauren promised, knowing she was opening a door she probably shouldn't. When they arrived at Tyler's house, Rosie ran inside ahead of Lauren. Tyler was waiting in the living room and Rosie threw herself at him. "Daddy, I have a question," Rosie announced. "Okay," Tyler said, glancing at Lauren with concern. "What's your question? Can Mommy move back in with us?" Rosie asked. "Please? I want us all to live together." Tyler looked stunned. His eyes met Lauren's over Rosie's head. "Sweetheart, that's a big question," Tyler said carefully. "Can Mommy and I talk about it while you go play in your room for a few minutes?" "But you'll talk about it?" Rosie asked. "You promise?" "We'll talk about it," Tyler agreed. Rosie ran off to her room, apparently satisfied. Tyler gestured for Lauren to sit down. "I'm sorry," Lauren said immediately. "She asked about it at my apartment. I tried to explain that it wasn't possible right now, but she's fixated on the idea." Tyler rubbed his face with both hands. "It's not your fault. She's 5. She wants her family together. That's natural. But it's not fair to her," Lauren said. "We can't give her what she wants." "Can't we?" Tyler said quietly. Lauren's heart stuttered. "What?" "I mean not right away," Tyler said quickly. "But Lauren, you could move in here. We have a second bedroom that I use as an office. You could stay there. We could try to be a family again for Rosie's sake." "Tyler, that's crazy," Lauren said, even though part of her was thrilled at the idea. "We're not together. We'd just be roommates, essentially. That would be so awkward." "Maybe," Tyler admitted. "But would it be worse than Rosie constantly feeling torn between 2 houses? Would it be worse than both of us missing half of her life?" Lauren stared at him. "You're serious about this?" "I don't know," Tyler said honestly. "I'm thinking out loud. But Rosie has a point. Why can't we live together? We're getting along. We're learning to communicate. We both want what's best for Rosie. Maybe living under one roof would actually make co-parenting easier. Or it could be a disaster," Lauren pointed out. "What if we drive each other crazy? What if we fall back into old patterns? Then we'd figure it out," Tyler said. "Look, I'm not saying we should do this tomorrow. I'm saying maybe it's something we should consider. We could try it for a few months, see how it goes. If it doesn't work, you'd move back out and we'd continue with the visitation schedule." Lauren's mind was racing. Live with Tyler again? Share a home with him even if not a bedroom? It was terrifying and appealing at the same time. "Can I think about it?" Lauren asked. "Of course," Tyler said. "This is a huge decision. Take all the time you need." But even as Lauren left the house that evening, she knew what her answer would be. She'd spent 3 years away from her daughter. If there was a chance, any chance, to be part of Rosie's daily life again, she had to take it. 2 days later, Lauren called Tyler. "I want to do it," she said. "I want to move in. If you're still offering." There was a long pause. Then Tyler said, "Okay. Let's do it." "Really?" Lauren could hardly believe it. "Really," Tyler confirmed. "We'll set ground rules and boundaries. We'll take it slow. But yes, let's try this. For Rosie." "For Rosie," Lauren agreed. Are you watching this incredible second chance story? Subscribe now and share your thoughts in the comments about whether Tyler and Lauren are making the right choice. Can a broken family truly heal? But as they made plans for Lauren to move in the following month, both of them wondered if they were doing this only for Rosie, or if there was something more growing between them. The morning sun streamed through the living room windows, casting warm light on the scene inside Tyler's house. It was Christmas morning again, exactly 1 year since the collision at the mall that had changed everything. Lauren padded into the kitchen in her pajamas and robe, yawning as she started the coffee maker. She'd been living in Tyler's house for 10 months now, and the morning routine had become comfortable and familiar. "Mommy?" Rosie's shriek came from her bedroom, followed by the pounding of small feet. It's Christmas. Santa came. Lauren laughed and caught Rosie as she ran into the kitchen. Yes, he did. But we have to wait for Daddy to wake up before we open presents, remember? I'm awake, Tyler said, emerging from his bedroom. His hair was sticking up in all directions and he had pillow creases on his face. He'd stayed up late the night before assembling a bike for Rosie. The three of them settled in the living room around the tree. The house looked completely different from last year. Lauren's touches were everywhere now. Throw pillows she'd made, family photos she'd framed, plants she'd carefully tended. It felt like a real home. Tyler had moved his office into a corner of the living room, and Lauren had taken over the second bedroom. But more often than not, the three of them ended up piled on the couch together, watching movies or reading books. The arrangement had been strange at first. Lauren had worried about boundaries and awkwardness. But Tyler had been true to his word. He'd set clear rules about privacy and personal space. They'd had weekly check-ins to discuss any issues or concerns. And slowly, living together had started to feel natural. Rosie tore into her presence with the same enthusiasm as the year before. Tyler and Lauren sat on either side of her, passing her gifts and taking photos. At one point, Tyler's hand brushed Lauren's as they both reached for the same present, and their eyes met. Tyler smiled and Lauren smiled back. Things had changed between them over the past 10 months. They'd learned to communicate better. Tyler had continued with therapy and had gotten much better at setting boundaries with his mother. Patricia visited regularly but always called first and respected Lauren's role as Rosie's mother. Lauren had also stayed in therapy, working through her guilt and anxiety. She'd learned to speak up when something bothered her instead of letting it fester. She and Tyler had developed a rhythm of honest conversation that they'd never had during their marriage. And somewhere along the way they'd become friends again. Real friends. They laughed together, cooked together, made parenting decisions together. They'd even started having date nights, which Tyler had suggested as a way to reconnect as adults beyond just being Rosie's parents. The date nights had been awkward at first, but they'd gotten easier. Last week, they'd gone to dinner and spent 2 hours just talking, something they rarely did without Rosie around. Tyler had made Lauren laugh so hard she'd snorted wine, which had made them both laugh even harder. Daddy, look. Rosie held up the new doll she'd unwrapped. She looks just like Mommy. Tyler glanced at the doll, which did indeed have the same warm brown skin and big smile as Lauren. She's beautiful just like Mommy. Lauren felt her cheeks warm. Tyler had been saying things like that more often lately. Little compliments, appreciative looks. Lauren had noticed it but hadn't wanted to read too much into it. They were rebuilding trust and friendship. Romance was probably too much to hope for. After presents, Tyler made pancakes while Lauren helped Rosie set up her new dollhouse. Patricia was coming over later, and they were expecting Angela and her family as well. It would be a full house, noisy and chaotic and wonderful. Lauren, Tyler called from the kitchen. Can you come here for a second? Lauren left Rosie playing and went to the kitchen. Tyler was standing by the stove, spatula in hand, looking nervous. What's up? Lauren asked. I have something for you, Tyler said. I know we said no gifts this year, just stuff for Rosie, but I got you something anyway. It's small. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small wrapped box. Lauren's heart started beating faster. That was a jewelry box-sized package. Tyler, you didn't have to. She started. Just open it, he said. Lauren unwrapped the paper with shaking hands. Inside was a simple silver necklace with a small pendant. The pendant was engraved with 3 words: family, hope, love. Oh, Lauren breathed. Tyler, it's beautiful. Turn it over, he said. Lauren flipped the pendant. On the back was engraved, December 24, 2024, the date they'd seen each other again at the mall. I wanted you to have something to remember that day, Tyler said. The day our family started healing. Lauren felt tears streaming down her face. Thank you. This is perfect. Here, let me put it on you, Tyler said. Lauren turned around and lifted her hair. Tyler's fingers brushed the back of her neck as he fastened the clasp. The touch sent electricity through her. When she turned back around, they were standing very close together. Lauren, Tyler said softly. I need to tell you something. Okay, she whispered, afraid to break the moment. Living with you these past 10 months, it's been incredible, Tyler said. Getting to see you every day, co-parenting with you, having dinner together as a family, all of it. And somewhere along the way, I started feeling things I didn't expect to feel. Lauren's breath caught. What kinds of things? I think I'm falling in love with you again, Tyler said. Actually, I don't think. I know. I love you, Lauren. Not the way I loved you when we were young and naive. but in a deeper, more mature way. I love the woman you've become. I love how you are with Rosie. I love your strength and your vulnerability. I love your laugh and your smile and the way you hum while you cook. Tyler, Lauren managed, her voice breaking. I'm not asking you to say it back, Tyler said quickly. I'm not asking for anything to change. I just needed you to know. I needed to be honest with you the way we've been working on being honest with each other. Lauren looked at him, this man she'd once walked away from. He'd grown so much. They both had. And what she felt for him now was nothing like the young love of their first marriage. This was deeper, richer, built on a foundation of pain and forgiveness and real communication. I love you too, Lauren said. I've been falling in love with you again for months, but I didn't know if it was appropriate to say anything. We've been focusing so much on Rosie and rebuilding trust that I didn't want to complicate things. Tyler's face broke into a huge smile. Really? You love me? Really, Lauren confirmed, laughing through her tears. I love you. Tyler reached out and cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away her tears. Can I kiss you? Lauren nodded and Tyler leaned in. The kiss was soft and sweet, full of promise and second chances. It felt like coming home. They broke apart when they heard Rosie's footsteps approaching. What are you doing? Rosie asked, appearing in the doorway. Daddy was putting this necklace on Mommy, Lauren said, touching the pendant. It's pretty, Rosie said. Then her eyes narrowed thoughtfully. Were you kissing? Tyler and Lauren exchanged a look. They'd agreed to be honest with Rosie about everything age-appropriately. Yes, we were, Tyler said. Is that okay with you? Rosie broke into the biggest smile they'd ever seen. Does this mean you're in love again? Like in the movies? Yes, Lauren said softly. We're in love again. Yes. Rosie jumped up and down. I wished for this. When I blew out my birthday candles, I wished that you'd fall in love again. Tyler laughed and scooped Rosie up. Well, your wish came true, kiddo. They stood there in the kitchen, the three of them holding each other. A family that had broken apart and found its way back together. The doorbell rang. Patricia and Angela's family had arrived. The day passed in a blur of laughter and food and family. Patricia pulled Lauren aside at one point. You look happy, Patricia said. Really happy. I am, Lauren said. Thank you for giving me another chance. For accepting me back into this family. I was wrong about you, Patricia said. I didn't see your strength or your love for my son and granddaughter. I let my own need for control cloud my judgment. I'm grateful you forgave me. We all deserve second chances, Lauren said, thinking about Tyler's words. That night, after everyone had gone home and Rosie was asleep, Tyler and Lauren sat on the couch together. Lauren was snuggled against Tyler's side, his arm around her shoulders. What a year, Tyler said softly. The best year, Lauren agreed. Who would have thought that a chance meeting at a mall would lead to all this? Rosie knew, Tyler said with a smile. She ran right to you. Like she knew exactly what she was doing. Maybe she did, Lauren said. Kids are smarter than we give them credit for. They sat in comfortable silence, watching the Christmas tree lights blink. The same tree that had witnessed so much pain and healing. So what happens now? Lauren asked. We're living together, we're in love, we're co-parenting. What's next? Tyler was quiet for a moment. What do you want to happen? I want to do this right this time, Lauren said. I want to keep going to therapy. I want to keep communicating honestly. I want to build something strong and lasting. Me too, Tyler said. He shifted so he could look at her face. Lauren, I don't want to rush anything. But eventually, when we're both ready, I'd like to marry you again. Properly this time. With vows that we really understand. Lauren felt joy bubbling up in her chest. I'd like that too. But you're right, let's not rush. Let's enjoy this, enjoy learning to love each other again. Deal, Tyler said and kissed her softly. They went to bed in their separate rooms that night, but everything felt different now. The air was full of possibility and promise. They'd found their way back to each other through pain and forgiveness, through honesty and second chances. As Lauren drifted off to sleep, she touched the pendant around her neck. Family. Oh, love. The three things that had saved them all. 3 months had passed since Christmas, and spring was beginning to bloom across the city. Lauren sat at the small desk in her bedroom, marking papers from her students. She'd been promoted to a full teacher's aide position at a different elementary school, one closer to home, and she loved the work. Through the open door, she could hear Tyler helping Rosie with her homework at the kitchen table. Their voices drifted to her, warm and patient. But Daddy, I don't understand this math problem, Rosie was saying. Let's break it down into smaller parts, Tyler replied. What does the question ask you to find? Lauren smiled. Tyler had always been good at explaining things in ways Rosie could understand. She turned back to her papers, but her mind wandered to the couple's counseling session they'd had yesterday. After they'd admitted their feelings for each other at Christmas, they'd decided to start seeing a therapist together. It was different from individual therapy. This was about learning to be partners again, about understanding where they'd gone wrong the first time and how to avoid those same mistakes. "You're both doing really well," Dr. Morrison had said during yesterday's session. "You've learned to communicate openly. You've established healthy boundaries. You're rebuilding trust slowly and consistently. These are all excellent signs." "But," Tyler had prompted, sensing there was more. "But you're still sleeping in separate rooms?" Dr. Morrison had said. "And you seem hesitant to discuss the future beyond general terms. I'm wondering if there's fear holding you back." Lauren had known the therapist was right. She and Tyler had been dating, for lack of a better word, for 3 months. They kissed goodnight. They held hands on the couch. They went on weekly dates. But they maintained very clear physical boundaries, and they avoided talking about long-term plans. "I'm scared," Lauren had admitted in the session. "I'm scared that if we move too fast we'll fall back into old patterns. That it will all fall apart again." "I'm scared too," Tyler had added. "What if we're only making this work because we're being extra careful? What if real life together isn't sustainable?" "Those are valid fears," Dr. Morrison had said. "But at some point you'll need to decide if you're going to let fear control your relationship or if you're going to trust in the work you've done." Now, sitting at her desk, Lauren thought about those words. She and Tyler had been so focused on not making mistakes that they might be holding themselves back from really moving forward. "Lauren?" Tyler's voice interrupted her thoughts. He stood in her doorway, leaning against the frame. "Rosie's done with homework and wants to watch a show. You have a minute to talk." "Of course," Lauren said, setting down her pen. Tyler came in and sat on the edge of her bed. The bedroom was small but cozy. Lauren had decorated it with warm colors and photos of Rosie. A bookshelf overflowed with novels and teaching materials. "I've been thinking about what Dr. Morrison said yesterday," Tyler began. "About us being afraid to move forward." "Me too," Lauren admitted. "I don't want to live in fear," Tyler said. "We've worked so hard to get here. We've rebuilt our relationship from the ground up. And Lauren, I'm ready for more. I'm ready to really be together again, not just living in the same house and dating like teenagers." Lauren's heart raced. "What are you saying?" "I'm saying I want you to move into my room," Tyler said. "Not right this second, but soon. I want to wake up next to you. I want to fall asleep with you in my arms. I want to be a real couple again, not just co-parents who happen to be in love." Lauren felt tears prick her eyes. "I want that too. So much. But Tyler, what if? What if we fight?" Tyler finished for her. "What if we have hard days? What if we disagree about something important?" "Lauren, those things are going to happen regardless. The difference is now we know how to handle them. We know how to communicate. We know how to respect each other's boundaries while still being honest about our needs." "You're right," Lauren said slowly. "We're not the same people we were 5 years ago. We've both grown. We've both learned. So let's trust in that growth," Tyler said. He reached out and took her hand. "Let's trust in us." Lauren looked at their intertwined hands, then up at Tyler's face. He looked hopeful but patient, willing to wait for her to process. "Okay," Lauren said. "Yes. I want to move into your room. I want to really be together again." Tyler's face lit up with joy. He pulled her into his arms, holding her tight. "I love you so much." "I love you too," Lauren murmured against his chest. They decided to wait until the weekend to make the transition, giving themselves time to prepare and talk to Rosie about the change. That evening at dinner they brought it up. "Rosie, Mommy and I want to talk to you about something," Tyler said. Rosie looked up from her chicken nuggets, her eyes curious. "Okay. You know how Mommy has been sleeping in the office bedroom?" Tyler began. "Uh-huh," Rosie nodded. "Well, Mommy and I have been talking and we've decided that Mommy is going to move into my room. We're going to share a bedroom like married people do." Rosie's face broke into a huge grin. "Like a real family?" "We've always been a real family, sweetie," Lauren said gently. "But yes, this is another step toward Daddy and I being together the way we used to be." "Does this mean you're getting married again?" Rosie asked hopefully. Tyler and Lauren exchanged a glance. "Eventually, maybe," Tyler said. "But we're taking things one step at a time. Right now, we just want to be closer and spend more time together." "Okay," Rosie said, apparently satisfied. "Can I have dessert now?" They laughed at how easily she'd accepted the news. To Rosie, this was just another piece of her wish coming true. Her parents were together, they loved each other, and they were building a family again. On Saturday, Tyler helped Lauren move her clothes and personal items into his room. It felt strange and wonderful at the same time. They rearranged furniture to make space for Lauren's things. They cleared out half the closet for her clothes. They put her books on the nightstand. "This feels real," Lauren said, hanging up her last dress. "Like we're really doing this." "We are really doing this," Tyler said. He came up behind her and wrapped his arms around her waist. "And I've never been more sure of anything." That night, they put Rosie to bed together, then returned to their now shared bedroom. It felt momentous and also completely natural. "Are you nervous?" Tyler asked as they got ready for bed. "A little," Lauren admitted. "But mostly I'm happy." They climbed into bed and Tyler pulled Lauren close. She rested her head on his chest, listening to the steady beat of his heart. "This is nice," she whispered. "This is perfect," Tyler corrected. The next few weeks brought adjustments. They learned each other's sleep habits all over again. Tyler snored sometimes, which Lauren had forgotten. Lauren liked to read before bed, which sometimes kept Tyler awake. But they talked about these things openly and found compromises. Tyler started using a white noise machine. Lauren got a book light so she could read without disturbing him. Patricia continued to visit regularly, but the dynamic had completely changed. She asked permission before coming over. She respected Lauren's parenting choices. She'd even apologized to Lauren again, more deeply this time, acknowledging all the ways she'd interfered in their marriage. "I was afraid of losing my son," Patricia had said during one visit. "When Tyler got married, I felt like I was being replaced. So I inserted myself into your lives in unhealthy ways. I see that now and I'm truly sorry." Lauren had forgiven her, genuinely this time. She could see that Patricia was really trying to be better. The older woman had even started seeing her own therapist to work on her control issues. One evening in April, Tyler came home from work with a serious expression. Lauren was making dinner while Rosie colored at the kitchen table. "Can we talk?" Tyler asked. "After dinner?" Lauren's stomach clenched with worry, but she nodded. They got through dinner with Rosie's usual chatter filling any awkward silence. After Rosie went to play in her room, Tyler and Lauren sat on the couch together. "What's wrong?" Lauren asked, unable to hide her concern. "Nothing's wrong," Tyler said quickly. "Actually, something's very right. I got a promotion today." Lauren's face lit up. "Tyler, that's wonderful. Why did you look so serious?" "Because the promotion comes with a significant raise," Tyler said. "Enough that we could afford a bigger house. A real house with a yard and space for all of us. Maybe even room for—" He trailed off. "Room for what?" Lauren prompted. "Room for another child, if that's something you'd want someday," Tyler said, his voice tentative. "I know we haven't talked about that. And maybe it's too soon to even think about it. But Rosie's 6 now, and if we wanted her to have a sibling?" Lauren felt emotion welling up in her chest. "You want another baby? With me?" "Someday, yes," Tyler said. "Not right now. But maybe in a year or two when we're even more stable. When we've rebuilt our marriage fully. I'd love for Rosie to have a brother or sister. And I'd love to experience raising a child with you from the beginning this time, without all the interference and problems we had before." "I'd like that too," Lauren said, tears streaming down her face. "I'd like that so much." They held each other, both thinking about the future. A bigger house, another child, a fully restored family. It felt like a dream but also like something they could actually build together this time. Over the next month they started looking at houses. They found a beautiful 3-bedroom home with a yard and a porch swing. It needed some work, but it was within their budget with Tyler's new salary and Lauren's teaching aid income. "What do you think?" Tyler asked as they toured the empty house. "I think it's perfect," Lauren said. She could already imagine Rosie playing in the yard, imagine a nursery in the smallest bedroom, imagine building a life here. They made an offer that was accepted. The closing was set for June, which gave them 2 months to prepare. Rosie was thrilled about getting her own bigger room and a yard to play in. "Can we get a dog?" Rosie asked immediately. "Let's settle into the new house first," Tyler said. "Then we can talk about a dog." As moving day approached, Tyler surprised Lauren with dinner at a nice restaurant. Patricia came over to watch Rosie and Tyler and Lauren dressed up for their date night. At the restaurant, Tyler seemed nervous. He kept fidgeting with his napkin and checking his pocket. "Are you okay?" Lauren asked. "I'm perfect," Tyler said. "Lauren, this past year and a half has been the best of my life. Not because it's been easy. It hasn't. but because we've worked for every good thing we have. We've earned this second chance. We have, Lauren agreed, wondering where he was going with this. Tyler reached into his pocket and pulled out a small box. Lauren's breath caught. I know I said we should wait to get married again, Tyler said. But I've realized that waiting isn't protecting us. We're either committed to this or we're not. And I'm committed, Lauren. Completely and totally committed to you, to us, to our family. He opened the box to reveal a simple but beautiful diamond ring. Lauren Hayes, will you marry me? Again. Will you let me be your husband and spend the rest of my life proving that I can be the partner you deserve? Lauren couldn't speak through her tears. She just nodded frantically. I need to hear you say it, Tyler said, his voice thick with emotion. Yes, Lauren managed. Yes, I'll marry you. I'll marry you 1,000 times. Tyler slipped the ring onto her finger, and they both started laughing and crying at the same time. People at nearby tables noticed and started clapping. Lauren didn't care. She kissed Tyler right there in the restaurant, kissing him like she'd never let go. When they got home, they told Rosie together. Their daughter screamed with joy so loud that Patricia came running from the living room in alarm. We're getting married, Rosie announced to her grandmother. Mommy and Daddy are getting married. Patricia hugged them both, tears in her eyes. I'm so happy for all of you. That night, after Patricia left and Rosie finally fell asleep, Tyler and Lauren lay in bed together, Lauren's engagement ring catching the moonlight streaming through the window. When should we have the wedding? Lauren asked. How about August? Tyler suggested. After we're settled in the new house. Nothing big or fancy. Just family and close friends. Simple and meaningful. Perfect, Lauren agreed. Everything about us is simple and meaningful now. Not simple, Tyler corrected with a smile. We're definitely not simple. But real. Honest. Built on a foundation that can weather storms. Built on family, hope, and love, Lauren said, touching the necklace she still wore every day. Always, Tyler agreed, pulling her close. They fell asleep wrapped in each other's arms, dreaming of the future they were building together. A future with a new house, a wedding, maybe another child someday. A future full of second chances and hard-won happiness. Outside, spring rain began to fall, washing away the last traces of a difficult winter and nourishing the new growth waiting to bloom. The June afternoon was warm and bright as Lauren stood in the backyard of their new house, watching Tyler push Rosie on the swing set they'd installed last month. Rosie's laughter rang out, clear and joyful, filling the space with pure happiness. Higher, Daddy. Higher. Rosie called out. Any higher and you'll fly away, Tyler called back, but he gave her an extra push anyway. Lauren's hand rested on her slightly rounded belly. She was 4 months pregnant, and they just found out last week that they were having a boy. Rosie was beyond excited about becoming a big sister. The wedding had been small and perfect, held in Patricia's garden in August. Angela had been Lauren's maid of honor. Tyler's best friend from work had been his best man. And Rosie had been the flower girl, taking her job very seriously as she scattered rose petals down the aisle. This time, when Lauren and Tyler exchanged vows, they'd written their own. They spoke honestly about the mistakes they'd made, the pain they'd caused each other, and the incredible journey of healing they'd been on. There wasn't a dry eye in the garden. I promise to listen when you speak, Tyler had said, his voice strong and clear. I promise to stand up for you always. I promise to make our marriage my first priority and to never let anyone, including my own mother, come between us. I promise to communicate openly and honestly, even when it's hard. And I promise to love you, Lauren, with everything I am for the rest of my life. Lauren had barely been able to get through her own vows. I promise to stay, she'd said, tears streaming down her face. I promise to fight for us instead of running away when things get difficult. I promise to trust you with my fears and insecurities. I promise to be the mother Rosie deserves and the wife you deserve. And I promise to love you, Tyler, with a love that's been tested and proven true. When they kissed, Rosie had cheered louder than anyone. Now, 6 months into their second marriage, everything felt different. Better. Stronger. They'd had their first real fight last month about finances. Instead of shutting down or walking away, they'd talked it through. They'd raised their voices a bit, sure, but they'd also listened to each other. They'd compromised. They'd gone to bed still married and more united than before. Mommy, come push me too, Rosie called out. Lauren walked across the grass, one hand still on her belly. Tyler gave her a soft smile as she approached. How are you feeling? He asked quietly, the question he asked multiple times a day now. Good, Lauren said honestly. A little tired but good. Go sit down, Tyler said. I've got this. I can push my daughter on a swing, Lauren said with a laugh. I'm pregnant, not broken. I know, Tyler said, kissing her cheek. But let me take care of you anyway. They took turns pushing Rosie, their daughter's joy infectious. The yard was full of signs of their new life together. A vegetable garden that Lauren had planted. A grill that Tyler used every weekend. Rosie's toys scattered across the grass. A small patio set where they ate dinner on warm evenings. I have some news, Tyler said as Rosie slowed down on the swing. My boss asked if I'd be interested in going part-time after the baby comes. They're implementing a new parental leave policy and want to test it out. Lauren looked at him in surprise. Really? Would you want that? Actually, yes, Tyler said. I missed so much of Rosie's early years because I was working all the time. I'd love to be more present for this baby. And for Rosie. And for you. That would be amazing, Lauren said, feeling tears well up. Pregnancy hormones made her cry at everything lately. Don't cry, Tyler said, pulling her close. Happy tears only in this house. They are happy tears, Lauren insisted. I'm just so grateful for all of this. For you, for our family, for our second chance. Rosie jumped off the swing and ran over to them. Why is Mommy crying? Because she's happy, Tyler explained. And because your baby brother is making her emotional. Baby brother makes Mommy cry a lot, Rosie observed wisely. Can we name him something cool? Like superhero or dragon? We'll consider all options, Tyler said seriously, making Lauren laugh. They went inside for dinner. The house smelled like the roast Lauren had put in the slow cooker that morning. They'd developed routines over the past months. Tyler did the grocery shopping. Lauren did most of the cooking. They took turns doing dishes. They both tucked Rosie in at night, taking turns reading chapters from whatever book they were working through. During dinner, Rosie chattered about her day at school. She was in first grade now and loved her teacher, Miss Roberts. She talked about her best friends, about the art project they were working on, about the boy who'd pushed her on the playground but then apologized. Tyler and Lauren listened, asked questions, engaged fully. This was what family dinners should be, Lauren thought. Present, connected, full of love. After dinner, while Tyler helped Rosie with her bath, Lauren's phone rang. It was her therapist's office, confirming their couple's session for next week. Even though things were going well, they'd committed to continuing therapy. It kept them accountable and gave them tools to handle whatever came up. Lauren confirmed the appointment and hung up just as Tyler came into the living room. She wants you to read to her tonight, Tyler said. Something about it being Mommy's turn. Lauren went to Rosie's room, which they'd painted lavender at Rosie's request. The walls were covered with drawings Rosie had made. Her bookshelf overflowed with stories. A new dollhouse stood in the corner, a gift from Patricia for Rosie's 6th birthday. What are we reading tonight? Lauren asked, settling onto Rosie's bed. This one, Rosie said, handing her a book about a family of rabbits. Lauren read aloud while Rosie snuggled against her side. When the story ended, Rosie looked up at her mother with serious eyes. Mommy, are you ever going to leave again? She asked. Lauren's heart clenched. They'd been doing so well that she'd hoped Rosie had moved past this fear. No, baby, Lauren said firmly. I'm never leaving again. I promise you that. I know I left before and that was very wrong of me. But I'm different now. Daddy and I are different now. We've learned how to stay together even when things are hard. What if things get really, really hard? Rosie persisted. Then Daddy and I will talk about it, Lauren said. We'll figure it out together. That's what families do. They work through hard things together. They don't run away. Okay, Rosie said, apparently satisfied. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, sweetheart, Lauren said, kissing Rosie's forehead. More than all the stars in the sky. She turned off the light and returned to the living room where Tyler was waiting on the couch. He'd turned on a movie but he paused it when she sat down. Everything okay? He asked, reading her expression. Rosie asked if I was going to leave again, Lauren said quietly. Tyler pulled her close. That's natural. She's processing what happened. Give her time. She'll feel more secure as more time passes without you leaving. I know, Lauren said. It just breaks my heart that I gave her that fear. You can't change the past, Tyler said gently. You can only keep showing up in the present. And Lauren, you've been showing up every single day for almost 2 years now. You're an amazing mother and an amazing wife. Don't let guilt steal your joy. Lauren nodded against his chest. He was right. She'd done the work of making amends. She'd proven herself over and over. At some point she had to forgive herself and move forward. They watched the movie together, Lauren falling asleep halfway through. Tyler gently moved her so she was lying down with her head in his lap, and he stroked her hair while she slept. The next morning was Saturday, which meant family breakfast at Patricia's house. This had become a monthly tradition, one that Lauren actually enjoyed now. Patricia had truly changed. She asked for Lauren's input on things. She respected boundaries. She'd even started asking Lauren for parenting advice sometimes, which amazed Lauren. At breakfast, Patricia announced that she'd started dating someone. A retired teacher she'd met at her book club. "His name is Richard," Patricia said, blushing slightly. "We've been seeing each other for a few months and I think it's getting serious." "Mom, that's wonderful," Tyler said, genuinely happy for her. "I wanted to wait to tell you until I was sure," Patricia continued. "But Richard makes me happy. And he's helped me see some things about myself. About how I was too focused on you and Rosie and not enough on building my own life." "We're really happy for you," Lauren said warmly. After breakfast, while Rosie played with Patricia and Richard in the garden, Tyler and Lauren took a walk around the neighborhood. "How are you really doing?" Tyler asked, taking her hand. "I know the pregnancy is going well physically, but emotionally? Are you scared?" Lauren thought about it. "Sometimes," she admitted. "I'm scared I'll have postpartum depression again. I'm scared I won't be a good mother to 2 children. I'm scared I'll mess things up." "Those are all normal fears," Tyler said. "But this time we're prepared. We have a therapist. We have a plan for if you start feeling depressed. We have support from my mom and Angela. And most importantly, we have each other. I'm not going to let you struggle alone like I did last time. I promise you that." "Thank you," Lauren said, squeezing his hand. "I don't know what I did to deserve this second chance with you." "You didn't have to deserve it," Tyler said. "You're human. You made mistakes. So did I. We've both grown and changed. That's what matters." They walked in comfortable silence, enjoying the warm morning. 2 years ago, Lauren had been watching Rosie from a distance, living a life of regret and loneliness. Now she was married to the love of her life, carrying their second child, living in a beautiful home and building the family she'd always wanted. "Tyler," Lauren said suddenly. "Thank you." "For what?" he asked. "For believing in me," Lauren said. "For giving me another chance. For seeing past my mistakes to the person I could become. For loving me even when I didn't deserve it." Tyler stopped walking and turned to face her. He cupped her face in his hands, his thumb brushing away the tear that had escaped. "Lauren, you always deserved love," he said. "You just needed to believe you were worthy of it. And I'm grateful every single day that you found your way back to us. That chance meeting at the mall, it was the best thing that ever happened to our family." "It really was," Lauren agreed. They kissed there on the sidewalk, not caring who saw. It was a kiss full of promise and gratitude, full of the knowledge that they'd fought hard for this happiness and wouldn't take it for granted. That evening, back at their home, they sat on the porch swing watching the sunset. Rosie played in the yard, chasing fireflies as they began to appear in the twilight. "I've been thinking," Tyler said. "When the baby comes and we're all settled, maybe we could renew our vows. Have a little ceremony with just us and Rosie and the baby. Recommit to each other and to our family." "I love that idea," Lauren said. "A fresh start, but with all the wisdom we've gained." "Exactly," Tyler said. They swung gently, watching their daughter play, feeling the baby move inside Lauren, surrounded by the home they'd built together. It wasn't perfect. They still had hard days. They still disagreed sometimes. They still had moments of fear or insecurity. But they faced everything together now. They communicated. They supported each other. They'd built something real and lasting on a foundation of honesty, forgiveness, and true commitment. "Mommy? Daddy? Come see." Rosie called, cupping something in her hands. They walked over to find her holding a firefly, its light blinking on and off in her palms. "Make a wish," Rosie said seriously. "Wishes on fireflies always come true." Lauren and Tyler looked at each other and smiled. They didn't need to wish for anything. They already had everything they'd ever wanted. "What are you wishing for, Rosie?" Tyler asked. Rosie closed her eyes tight, then opened them and let the firefly go. They watched it float up into the darkening sky, joining the others in their dance. "I wish that we'd always be this happy," Rosie said simply. "Forever and ever." "That's a perfect wish," Lauren said, pulling her daughter close with one arm and wrapping the other around Tyler's waist. They stood there in their backyard, the 3 of them, soon to be 4. A family that had been broken and put back together, stronger for having been tested. A family built on kindness, hope, and love. A family that had learned the most important lesson of all, that with forgiveness, communication, and commitment, even the most shattered hearts can heal. And sometimes when you get a second chance at love, You don't just rebuild what was broken. You create something entirely new. Something better. Something that will last. As stars began to appear in the sky above them, Tyler kissed the top of Lauren's head, Lauren hugged Rosie tight, and Rosie's laughter rang out one more time, the sound of pure joy echoing through the warm summer night. Their story had started with an ending. But it had become a beginning. And this beginning, built on truth and trust and true love, was one that would never end.